is up, guys? Welcome back to the stream. Quick stream today. We're not going to be on here as long as we have because we've recorded a piece of content every day this week. But guess what? That's what comes with the grind, and that's what comes with the start of the NFL new league year. But the Commanders did make some moves today, bringing in a familiar face, bringing in an old name, and wide receiver DYAMI Brown, who spent his first 4 seasons in Washington from 2021 to 2024 before subsequently going off in the 2024 playoffs. We'll never forget. We will never forget playoff DYAMI for as long as I'm a Washington Commander fan. And he turned that playoff run, and it essentially was only the playoff run because DYAMI's best year, I think he had, 400 yards in 2024. He was coming off of a 30 reception, 300-yard season, and he had almost as many yards in that playoff run. And that subsequently came onto the Jacksonville Jaguars, giving him a 1-year, $10 million deal that I would say that he didn't fulfill. Jacksonville had big plans bringing in a guy like Liam Cohen to pair DYAMI Brown with the likes of a Brian Thomas Jr. But by midseason, they had traded for Jacoby Myers, and DYAMI Brown was an afterthought after that. I think it was some games where he was a healthy scratch. But to have him back in Washington, I think at this point, I don't know if he's much more than a camp body. I think he has capability of making the back end of the wide receiver room. But if you think that this move is or should stop us from bringing in some of the top wide receivers in the draft, I think you're fooling yourself. If you've been tapped into Bleed and B&G, you guys know that I'm a big Jordan Tyson fan. And let's say Jordan, because I believe it's a pretty steep gap between wide receiver 1 in Jordan Tyson and the rest of the wide receivers in the class. So let's say that Jordan Tyson is wide receiver 1. Bringing in DYAMI Brown or the other guy that they brought in Van Jefferson are not going to do that. They did sign Van Jefferson. I don't think that he makes it out of training camp. Both he and DYAMI Brown's roster spots are far from a lock. I think DYAMI has more potential of making the final 53 with the Washington Commanders just because he has some familiarity with not necessarily the offense, because we are running a new offense, but the quarterback and the rest of the personnel that comes with the Washington Commanders. It'll be interesting to see DYAMI wearing a number 2 again. He wore number 5 in Jacksonville. Amik Robertson posted a picture, whether that was yesterday or today, and he had on the 2 Photoshop, and I was like, oh shit. I thought we was reserving that for Brandon Ayuk whenever the San Francisco 49ers cut him, but I guess not. I don't know if that means that Amik Robertson has been told that he will be allowed to wear number 2. But I think DYAMI Brown might have something to say. He might have to take a cut out of that $10 million paycheck that he got last year, because he signed for pennies in comparison to his $10 million deal. $3 million would change my fucking life. But he signed for pennies in comparison to what he signed last year on the 1-year deal that he signed with the Washington Commanders for 1 year, $3 million. Now let me get to the chat. Shout out to my guy, Take 2 times. Said that man Van Jefferson is hopefully trash. Hopefully we draft somebody and he a camp body. I will say this. I'll say this. We brought in 2 wide receivers today, and I think it's becoming more and more clear that wide receiver is going to be one of our selections high in the draft. I think that there's a chance that might be the favorite for the position to be drafted at the 7th overall pick. And to be quite honest with you, I hate to run a victory lap. I hate to toot my own horn. Y'all know, no, I don't. But we've been here for a while. Even before all of the moves that we made on defense, thinking that this defense might have still been a piss poor personnel that we had experienced during the 2025 season, we have been here for a while, because I think that Jordan Tyson is that type of talent. And I made a declaration on January 17th, and I'm starting to see more and more people come around. Thankfully, I'm glad that you guys are coming to your senses. I'm seeing more and more people come around to the fact that Jordan Tyson is the wide receiver 1 in the 2026 draft class. I think he's the best pass catcher by a long shot. I tweeted the other day. I said if Jordan Tyson had Carnell State PR's team and that Ohio State jacket, y'all would be talking about him as a top 5 lock. He's that type of talent. He's that type of talent. This is a guy that has the movement skills of like a taller CeeDee Lamb, a more explosive CeeDee Lamb, a bigger Justin Jefferson. I think those guys run along the same archetype tree. Not saying that those are one-to-one comparisons, but as I've said, even signing a guy like Van Jefferson and DYAMI Brown, I don't think Van Jefferson is going to be more than a camp body. So I'm with you, Tate, 2 times. I think it's, I don't know, is it an oxymoron? I don't know if it's anticlimactic, but I don't know if bringing in more wide receivers makes it more clear that we're going to be addressing that in the draft. And I do know why. Because neither one of these names are going to be guys that we should be expecting to give us any type of impact in the 2026 season. Now, if they do, that's the cherry on the top. That's the cherry on the top. But if you're relying on Van Jefferson and DYAMI Brown to be impact players in the big year of 2026, I got something to tell you. I got a bridge that I can sell you. Because one thing that I will say, though, is that I'd rather see DYAMI Brown getting spammed deep balls from Jaden Daniels than a Chris Moore any day of the fucking week. Any day of the fucking week. And we saw the type of magical connection that Jaden Daniels and DYAMI Brown were starting to garner during that 2024 playoff run. I've never watched football a day in my life. Well, you got to start, my man. Well, you got to start. Start watching some Washington Commander football. The best organization in the history of football. Commanders Rider, what's up, gang? How you? Appreciate you spending your Friday night, Friday evening with us over here at Bleeding B&G. We're definitely going receiver. Terry will be 32 and 33 at the end of his extension. I've said it on the channel. I don't know if I've said it on the live stream. I believe that this is Terry McLaurin's last year in Washington. And no, I don't get joy in saying that, contrary to what some of y'all believe. Because Terry McLaurin is the type of guy, the type of personality, the type of leader that you would want to spend his entire career with one franchise. But that's just not what happens in the NFL, in the new age NFL. So Terry McLaurin has a $35 million cap hit after this season. Terry McLaurin would have to have the best season of his career to justify a $35 million cap hit. And he's going into his age 31 season. I'm sorry if I'm a little skeptical of that happening. Now, if it does happen, amazing. If Terry McLaurin goes out and gives me 1,300 yards, give him that $35 million cap hit every day of the week. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case. And that's why we need to start looking for succession plans after Terry McLaurin. So whether that be at 71 or at 7, I do expect us to have to make us a wide receiver one of our first 2 selections in the NFL draft. I've said in prior streams this week, Adam Peters will use this avenue of free agency to supplement the defense. I'm a big believer in that he's going to use the avenue of the draft to supplement the offense, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because a lot of offensive skill players, a lot of people on the offensive side of the ball, they tend to be the most productive on their rookie contract before the hits and the wear and tear gets to them. They start moving slower and shit like that. So yeah, if he didn't have the injury concerns, he'd be number 1 wide receiver in the draft for sure. I agree. And thank you. Thank you, HK Hawkins, for bringing it up, because I don't know why, but people tell me every day how Jordan Tyson's been injury prone over the course of his college career. Like, I don't know who Jordan Tyson is. I'm pretty sure I was one of the first people that you knew speak about Jordan Tyson, to speak of Jordan Tyson's name. So I know everything about what Jordan Tyson did during the course of his career, from going to Colorado to going to Arizona State. And so I say all of that to say I'm very familiar with his injury history. But it's clear as day that some of y'all, especially on the Twitter space, do not tune in to Bleeding B&G. Because I've already said the only injury that Jordan Tyson has suffered throughout the course of his college career that I might be marginally worried about is the hamstring injury that he just suffered this past season. Because the other 2 injuries that everybody talks about, there's 3 major injuries on his rap sheet that everyone wants to talk about, like he needs to be wrapped in fucking bubble wrap, like fucking Bubble Buddy on SpongeBob. Like I don't understand it. I do get it. I mean, I say I don't understand it. But the broken collarbone, that's football, bro. That shit happens to everybody. The ACL, yeah, I would be more worried about it if he was potentially rehabbing going into the NFL draft. But he came back from the ACL as the second best wide receiver in the country behind Jeremiah Smith, who's not available in the 2026 NFL draft. Yes, better than Jeremiah Smith's counterpart on the other side in Carnell Tate, his teammate. Because I've also said this on the stream. I don't get the infatuation with Carnell Tate. I don't. Is he a solid receiver? Absolutely. I've comped him to Michael Crabtree. Michael Crabtree wasn't a bum. Michael Crabtree was a generational college receiver. I'm confident what Michael Crabtree did in the league to Carnell Tate as a prospect. But when I'm comparing Jordan Tyson to CeeDee Lamb, to Justin Jefferson, to Chad Johnson, it's levels to this. It's levels to this. Y'all gonna stop calling me Unc, bruh. Y'all gonna stop calling me Unc, bruh. Y'all gonna stop. Y'all gonna stop. Niggas is not Unc. My age just started with a 3 this year. Niggas is not Unc. Y'all gonna stop doing that. Do you want us to try to get BTJ? If it's possible. If it's possible, I don't know if that move is still. I think if BTJ was going to be traded, it would have happened in the first week of the new league year. It's still possible. I would definitely like to see Adam Peters tread those waters to see the potential market for a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. But what I wanted, absolutely. I've been on stream talking about it. What percentage would you say we draft Tyson? I don't know. Depends on who's on the board. I could definitely see us drafting Jeremiah Love if he's on the board. I'm personally of the belief that while Jeremiah Love could very well be a generational talent, I don't like throwing those generational labels out there. So I'm not going to say that Jordan Tyson is a generational wide receiver, but I don't think that the talent gap is big enough as just overall players. But me personally, you could agree to disagree. I don't think that the talent is big enough between as just simply overall players between Jeremiah Love and Jordan Tyson that it should supersede the fact that we're more talent deprived at the wide receiver position than we are at the running back position, in my opinion, especially after the signing of Rachaad White. Because, no, I'm not trying to make it seem like Rachaad White is some type of franchise back or some cornerstone back. That's a shoe-in 1,000-yard back. But I believe that a running back room of Jacory Crosby-Merritt and Rachaad White is more talented than a wide receiver room of Terry McLaurin and whatever the fuck else is in there right now. Terry McLaurin goes down, we're going to have the 2025 season all over again. And you shouldn't be saying that going into the season about a 31-year-old wide receiver, because it might pain you guys to hear this, but y'all know you come to Bleeding B&G for the most raw, uncut, and unfiltered analysis on your Washington Commanders. It's more than likely that a 31-year-old wide receiver might not play all 17 games, whether you think Terry McLaurin is the anomaly or not. Whether you think he's the anomaly or not. Are we re-signing Chris Paul? Before I get too deep into this stream, y'all go ahead and smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. If you want to support the channel, as I've always said, this is a stream made by me, but it's ran by you. I don't come in here with a script, so go ahead, flood the comment section. But if you really want to support the channel, go ahead and send that super chat through so we can give you the rightful attention that you deserve. You're going to jump the line in the chat, and we'll make you feel special like you made us feel special after sending that super chat through. Go ahead, smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. But yeah, let's see what they're talking about in the chat. I wanted Tyson. He looks NFL ready. He is NFL ready. It ain't just the look. He is NFL ready, Doves family. I'm telling you that right now. My only concern, and like I said, it's a marginal concern because I'm willing to bet on the talent because I believe that he's that talented. And if you've been tuned into and tapped into Bleeding B&G since 2021 when we started, I think we got a pretty good track record of scouting wide receivers and defensive backs. It's just a movement thing. I just got the eye for that. Pause. I just got the eye for it. I'm the one that called George Pickens wide receiver 1 in 2022 when everybody else in the world in the draft, ain't no NFL draft pundit say it. Everybody called me crazy. I'm the one that said that Derek Stingley was going to ultimately be better than Sauce Gardner, and that shit came to fruition as well. I just know how to drive them outside skill players. I used to be one. Never on this level, but I know what it takes to be great. He obviously recovered. Facts. Oh, getting back to the injury, if you guys don't know what HK Hawkins is talking about. As I was saying, the hamstring injury is the only one that I'm a little concerned about, because to hear that he's still like not 100% from a hamstring injury that he suffered in November. Don't love that. But the collarbone injury and the ACL injury, he came back as the second best wide receiver in the country, and the first best isn't available in this draft. Because the first best wide receiver, or the best wide receiver in this draft, doesn't come from Ohio State and is not Carnell Tate. Probably. We re-signed Chris Paul. We were saying, are you asking? I haven't seen that. Oh, we did. Okay. So bringing back a guy like Chris Paul, I honestly thought that the Commanders were going to let him walk. I think Chris Paul thought his market was going to be more fruitful than what it actually ended up being in reality. The only concern I have about Chris Paul is I don't know how good of a fit he's going to be in this wide zone scheme. So as of right now, I think that he'll be the shoe-in starting left guard with the potential of, I'm putting it out there, with the potential of Brandon Coleman potentially surpassing him on the depth chart, because I do think that Brandon Coleman is a better fit for the wide zone scheme. Chris Paul ultimately deboed Brandon Coleman out of that left guard spot last year. Different blocking scheme, different run game. So I beg to see who's the best. Matter of fact, let me pull it up. I beg to see who's the better fit with this new David Blau offense and this Chris Stapleton offensive line. Chris Paul. Okay, bringing back Chris Paul. Bringing back Big Seventh. Y'all know Chris Paul can't wait to pick up a nigga in the end zone. Who reported it? Jordan Schultz?
In the paper. I'm excited to be here, man.
No, Jordan Schultz. Let's see. I don't think the contract numbers have come out yet. Let's see what he said about the signing. The Commanders have re-signed offensive guard Chris Paul to a one-year deal. So he's probably back on the prove it deal to prove that he can do it again, to show that last season wasn't just a flash in the pan and some good like seventh round story. Because Chris Paul, that was easily a career year for Chris Paul, the best year of his career after exploring many options. He wanted to run it back, playing next to Larry Tunsil, and help the Commanders get back to the playoffs. So Chris Paul is clearly bought into the culture. I'm glad he went out and tested the market and saw that this was the best place for him. And have you guys in the chat, y'all let me know, have y'all been listening? Have y'all been tapped into a lot of these player interviews? I appreciate you ringing the alarm for me and letting me know that we re-signed Chris Paul though, man. I'll be 46 next month. But you just getting the Dubs family, and you 16 years older than me. That's why I can't be I can't be We probably have the best wide receiver depth we had in a long time. Ayuk is inevitable, but what are your thoughts on Debo? Would you be good on keeping him to add to the optional depth? Just like I said, I think after these moves, I think it's more likely that we sign a wide receiver. I do think that me personally, I think that the Brandon Ayuk move is inevitable. But if you were to ask me the percentage I gave it for the likelihood of it happening, it would have been higher prior to us signing or bringing back DYAMI Brown and signing Van Jefferson. Not saying that those guys should, threaten Brandon Ayuk's roster position or roster security by any means, but it's getting to be a lot of numbers in that wide receiver room, a lot of bodies. How many training camp bodies do you ultimately need? So I say all of that to say, no, I don't see a world where we bring Deebo Samuel back. I don't know how good of a fit that Deebo Samuel will be in a Ben Johnson style offense when you need real like route runners. Yeah, he's good for a gadget play every now and then, but you need guys that can run digs. You need guys that can run deep overs. You need guys that can run downfield. And Deebo Samuel did that for about 4 weeks last year, and then his hamstring turned into pulled pork. Not his hamstring, his heel turned into pulled pork. And then he just started eating pulled pork after that because you couldn't train during the week. Week 15 Deebo and week 1 Deebo were two completely different people. And the San Francisco 49ers fan base tried to warn us. Sad but true. You talking about the Terry McLaurin wide receiver situation? Yeah. Hate to break it to you. Hey, bruh. Genzino, hey, bruh. Hey, let me go ahead and move. You might not be wrong, though. You might not be wrong, gang, but you wild as shit. You might not be wrong, though, gang. You might not be wrong. But Chris Paul being re-signed is a move. I mean, it's a positive move. We were better. We're better now than we were before we re-signed Chris Paul. At the worst, he's depth for this new scheme. At the best, he's going to fit as well as he did last year and be your starting left guard. Do you think Amik is our best corner? Nah, I don't. I will admit, though, that I'm higher on the Amik Robertson signing than I was on day one. Still not as high, not about to act like he's a shutdown corner like some of y'all are, or some people in the fan base. I know we got real ball knowers in the Bleeding BNG community, but some people in the fan base been acting like because he had them couple of good games against Justin Jefferson, somebody he been going against since he was a kid, which matters because you start understanding dudes' cadences, dudes' movement patterns, and things of that nature. Y'all are acting like Amik Robertson wasn't a struggling young player in Vegas, like he didn't have a good year and a half and fizzle out over the course of his last season in Detroit. But I do think that Amik Robertson is a good scheme fit for this Durante Jones defense, this Brian Flores influenced defense, that Charles Omenihu actually, and I'll pull it up if I can find it, Charles Omenihu actually went into detail about what they told him the defense was going to look like. He mentioned a 3-4 under front, which if you guys don't know is when the strong side of the defensive front is on the opposite side of the offensive strong side. So typically, like you see defensive linemen shift and things of that nature. They shift away from the tight end. What this does allow is more one-on-ones and more one gap and shoot in the gap type of, action in the front. A lot of gains and stunts being ran in the front with a lot of penetration. Gone are the days of the two-gap system where you got Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne just holding niggas at their breastplate, looking and trying to make a play and ultimately missing dudes in the backfield. This under front is going to give you an attacking defense, and that's something that we've come to know with a Brian Flores type defense. What about Lemon though? I mean, Lemon's cool. I don't think Lemon's a bad football player. I think he's had bad pre-draft offseason. I don't want to buy too much into the interviews at the combine. But if I'm being the real nigga that I can be and just giving you the most raw, unfiltered analysis that I can, that shit was a little weird. It was. Nigga did seem like he was on some like Addies or some shit. I ain't gonna put the perks on him, but he definitely seemed like he was on some Adderall or type something. Moving his neck with every answer. The fake demon look. I don't know. I don't know. But Lemon's a good player. Then he ran the 40 and he was running on his heels the entire time, running flat foot. USC said it was a 4.46, but then they cropped out him running on his heels in their official video. So he probably ran a COVID 4.46. If y'all don't know what I mean by a COVID 4.46, during the 2021 draft that they couldn't have because of the coronavirus 19 pandemic, everybody seemed to run the fucking fastest 40 time ever at their position. Justin Fields was running 4.3. That Odafe Owe, one of our biggest signings, or our biggest signing of this offseason, ran a 4.36 at fucking 6'5", 270 pounds. Like, yeah, okay. Okay. Is he running that at Indy at the combine with that laser? I don't know. 1-year deal. We def going back this year. What, to the playoffs? To the Super Bowl? I appreciate you chugging along, Mower. Love your content. One of the realest. Keep it going. I appreciate it. I'm not going to stop. Commanders Rider. Oh, my man Commanders Rider with a super chat. So you know he got to jump to the front of the line. He said, with all the cooking that AP doing, I appreciate the super Commanders Rider. We still have the league high $65 million available in cap space. Crazy. Yeah, I think Pat McAfee actually mentioned that today, and I think he called us the cap commanders, being that we spent the most money over the course of this free agency period, and we have the most money left to spend in regards to cap space. So it ain't over. Yeah, you got to leave a little bit of the cap available for the incoming draft class, but we only got 6 picks. So it ain't over. Moves are still to be made. And while I still am not going to fucking apologize for my appropriate crash out when we weren't doing nothing and it was like me putting a stick to a dead body on Monday because it was slow, and we got 35 reports of how the Commanders came in second place for the first 35 free agents to sign, Adam Peters had made me eat a little bit of crow. He has made me eat a little bit of crow. But I would like to apologize to absolutely nobody. Word to Conor McGregor. Eric Spoelstra pulled that shit out the other day. Had they teased the date for the new uniforms? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they should do it closer to the draft. I don't know why the Tennessee Titans did it during free agency. I don't know if they thought that their moves that they made were that elite that they fans forgot that they had a 1-win season. The Tennessee Titans jerseys are sweet as shit, though. So I don't want the Commanders to do it now, but it's almost like, why did the Commanders drop them stadium renderings on the day we was the most active in free agency? Now, granted, them stadium renderings are beautiful as fuck. Hopefully I'm not priced out of my season tickets by then with them fucking PSLs, and I can enjoy each and every Sunday being boots on the ground at RFK 2.0 like I am at Northwest Stadium. But it seems like that went, under the radar with people talking about the unis were all right. Them joints sweet, bro. Them joints sweet. What you don't like? What you don't like? Powder blue? You don't like baby blue? Them jerseys sweet, bro. With the red accent. Cam Ward was swagging them joints out. Oh yeah, the logo is a little ass. I ain't gonna lie. I'll give you that. Jerb. That logo ass is shit. But the concept of the jersey, the color scheme, sweet. Sweet. My guy, JD5, 2026, MVP, Jalen the GOAT. I appreciate it. I'm trying to be though. I'm trying to get there though. I appreciate it though. I'm glad that you think so. That's probably it. No, the logo is definitely hella like Gerber baby, like hella juvenile. It looks like what's the most kid friendly rating that you could give? The most PG. It looks like a PG version of their old logo, but the color scheme is sweet. I don't know why they felt like they had to change the logo to get the colors. They could have just kept the colors with the logo. Yeah, DYAMI is back. DYAMI Brown is back. Playoff DYAMI is back. Missed the 2024 playoffs that turned that into a $10 million contract. My guy with a super. I appreciate the super. Mr. 202 Titus. I think we take Downs or Tate at 7. I wouldn't mind Downs. I'm going to throw up if we take Carnell Tate, especially if Jordan Tyson is on the board. Now, if Jordan Tyson isn't on the board, that means that Jeremiah Love is likely on the board. But y'all know how I feel about Carnell Tate. Like I said, he's not a bum. But I'm going to say it like I've said over the last couple of months when I've seen people hyping up Carnell Tate. And Carnell Tate had an amazing season. He did. Y'all falling in love with players that didn't line up against the best players at their position in college is what got y'all in trouble with Mikey Samerstill. And what I mean by that is that Mikey Samerstill went against a lot of number 2 and number 3 wide receivers at the University of Michigan because Will Johnson was that lockdown corner. He was that CB1 out there on that island, traveling with guys, lining up with guys, and Mikey Sanders still was there to do all the dirty work. Well, was Mikey Sanders still a significant piece to them winning the championship in that 2023 season? Absolutely. I'm not here to ever take that away from him. I'm not. But Mikey Sanders still has some physical limitations that you guys see pop up damn near every Saturday, that you guys probably would have seen pop up earlier had he lined up against number one wide receivers, right? It's the same thing with Carnell Tate. Yeah, he got the Ohio State jacket. Yeah, y'all can talk about how Ohio State is wide receiver you, and I'm not there to push back on you. And even us as fans of the Commanders, you know, we got a soft spot in our heart for Terry McLaurin because he was a wide receiver that came up during like post Ohio State, right? So he wasn't necessarily a renowned wide receiver coming out of Ohio State. But Carnell Tate, when it went against all second and third tier corners all year with coverage rolled on the opposite side of him because he was lined up and his teammate was the best wide receiver prospect since Julio Jones. It just is what it is. So I see a lot of people talking about the level of competition that Jordan Tyson faced in the Big 12. And I'm not here to tell you that he faced a bunch of amazing ass corners. And I appreciate you for the super again, 202 Titus. I'm not here to say that Jordan Tyson was here lining up against a bunch of amazing corners. But you're not about to tell me that the third string corner at Purdue is some elite ass nigga. He's not. You're not about to tell me the third string corner at Northwestern is some elite ass nigga. He's not. He's not. Those are the guys that Carnell Tate was lining up against. And did he ball out this year? Absolutely. But when you scouting the movement like you should do and not the helmet or the competition, put Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate in a black jersey, unmarked, unbranded, unlogoed, with a white blank helmet. Tell them niggas line up and go do some wide receiver drills. You choosing Jordan Tyson every fucking day of the week. And I don't see how you wouldn't if you had two eyes. I get the injury rap sheet. And Jordan Tyson might very well not finish that workout because he might blow out a knee. But I'm betting on that talent every day of the week. I'm sorry. I'm not going to put myself in a position that some of y'all are as Washington Commander fans of being scorned because we had the fucking MASH unit last year. Did we have the MASH unit? Absolutely. That's not Jordan Tyson's fault. And I will hope that Adam Peters doesn't pass up on a talent like Jordan Tyson because he decided to sign a bunch of old niggas that couldn't last 17 games. And y'all gonna think it's a shot, but it's fact. It's fact. It is not Jordan Tyson's fault that Terry McLaurin missed an entire training camp, got ran down against the Oakland Raiders, suffered an injury on the play that he got ran down, and missed the majority of the season. That's not Jordan Tyson's fault. Talk about his injuries, sure. But don't be like, oh man, we cannot draft him at 7 after the season. Fuck the season that we had. I'm trying to forget that shit. And then you see guys on the timeline like Dez Bryant calling Jordan Tyson pro ready today. I've been here for 3 months. Steve Smith saying he can't decide who's 1A and 1B beside Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson. That's Carnell Tate's PR team working again. But then you look at that list and realize that Steve Smith don't have Chris Brazil in his top 10. And you got to wonder how credible is that list. Mikey was in a slot and we mismanaged how he was used at Michigan. I mean, that's true. But Mikey Sanders still did a lot of blitzing from that slot position at Michigan. That's true, right? And he's played the slot in Michigan, sure. You still got to cover, bro. You still got to be able to run. And when you're playing that nickel corner position, you You going against guys that have a three-way go. Because they damn near in the middle of the field. So they can work left, they can work right, they can go over the top. That's not always the case when guys are lined up on the boundary. And in the NFL, against NFL athletes, Mikey Sanderson has shown that he struggled to do that. It's okay. It's okay. And is he a better outside corner than a slot corner? Yeah, I'll be the first one to admit it. But a lot of that is the fact that he played 19 yards off and do a lot of bailing because he know he finna get beat over the top. I was talking about this in Mikey's rookie year that was damn good. So you know we ain't out here clickbaiting or hat taking. This is just what happens and what comes with the territory of being the most honest, raw, unfiltered, uncut Commanders content creator. Even when guys are doing good, you got if something's on your mind, you make an observation, you say it. I got videos of me of January in 2025 off an amazing rookie year shit right after his fucking lifetime performance that he had against the Detroit Lions, where I talked about how I was still skeptical about Mike Sanders still covering on the NFL level. Trading back and taking the best wide receiver available is the best option on this team. Yeah. And guess what? If you get a report that Jordan Tyson's medicals came back and wasn't as amazing as it looked like, I do think that this is the best way that we can potentially attack the 2026 draft. But if his medical rap sheet comes back clean, on his medical sheet comes back clean, you ain't going to be able to trade too far back and still be able to get Jordan Tyson. Because guess what? The rest of the NFL teams got the same medical reports that you do. And if they see that he's fine, and we really shouldn't be worried about these injuries coming out of college, somebody's going to draft him high. I'll be willing to bet somebody is going to draft if that's the case. And we won't ever know. Maybe we'll find out after the draft. But if that's the case, I'll be willing to bet teams will draft him before Carnell Tate. LOL. Mikey gets turnovers, though. Nobody else does. Low bar. That's a low bar. Mikey got 4 turnovers. And for the amount of yards that he gives up and touchdowns that he gives up, 4 interceptions don't make up for it. And we've already went into detail and decipher how 2 of those interceptions, yeah, he made the play on the ball, and he ultimately had to catch it. One of those was because Johnny Newton batted the ball against the Los Angeles Chargers, and the other one was because Jackson Dart is fucking ass and just threw it right to him. Did he catch the ball? Absolutely. He's a former wide receiver. That's a low bar, though. That's a low bar. AP mean apply pressure. Facts. He was applying to my blood pressure earlier in this week when I felt like he wasn't doing nothing, though. Y'all know. Yeah, we look ahead, fam. Time to get back onto the path to the Super Bowl. We got to. I need to see one in my lifetime. I need to see one. I told the group chat bros, Rio Robinson, Tay and Todd. I told them the other day. I said, bro, I've become like real introspective and retrospective since I hit the age of 30. And one day, I'm dead ass, y'all. This is how sick I am. I woke up and the first thing was on my mind was how depressing it would be if I go my entire life, died, and I never see the Washington football organization win the Super Bowl. You know how depressing that would be? Think about that for a minute. All this passion, all this faith, all this money, all this time that y'all put into this team, and hopefully y'all all live long lives and you never see them win a Super Bowl in your 80-plus years of living. The thought of that is depressing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get morbid today, but I definitely had that thought the other day. Corners are still a byproduct of pass rush, but I could call out some limitations with Mikey that I fear. That's all I'm saying. I never said Mikey Sanders was a bum, but he's definitely got some limitations. That's all I'm saying. Mikey Sanders still got amazing ball skills when he's near the ball. I just need him to be near the ball more. That's all I'm saying. I'm here to give credit when credit's due. I think that Mikey Sanders still can be a fit on this defense because he plays with solid eyes when he's not trying to be the biggest brain on the field, which I think fucked him up early last season when he was in the slot. Mikey was jumping shit that shouldn't have been jumped. But I do think he plays with solid eyes to the quarterback, and he got good feet, right? And I think you need a bunch of good off-man corners in this defense. Shit, like Brian Flores showed you the type of cornerback, the archetype of cornerback that he's looking for with all the faith that he put in Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy ain't no elite cornerback, but he's a off-man corner that has solid feet that can make plays on the ball. And I think that, in a nutshell, I think that Mikey Sanders still could do that, even with his physical limitations that we can be honest about. That's all I'm saying, no name here today. That's all I'm saying, gang. Put the old something there. Facts. Commander Devils. You got Rachaad White while we at it. Put Tyson in. Oh, shit, Mikey weighs 0. Never mind. Damn, what number Tyson going with? Trust got 10. Niggas taking all the good numbers. Gonna leave my guy. Gonna leave my young demon in fucking 88 on some Pierre Garçon shit. Tyson not an 88 type of receiver, bruh. How you feel about Caleb Downs if Tyson is taken? I'm not a big fan on Lemon or Tate, to be honest. Me neither. If Tyson is taken, then you go Love. If both of them are available, I still think you go Tyson. If both of them are gone, I wouldn't mind Caleb Downs. I wouldn't mind Caleb Downs at all. Because I think a safety, and Daronte Jones has even admitted, I don't know if it was in his presser, but I watched a lot of Daronte Jones's like interviews and press conferences he did when we had initially signed him. And in one of those videos, he talked about how important Harrison Smith was to that style of defense that they ran in Minnesota, and just basically like how crucial a smart, rangy safety that can do it all is needed in the style of defense that Brian Flores runs and that we're expecting him to run in DC. Like I said, Charles Omenihu touched on it a little bit today. He said we running a 3-4 underfront. That's what they ran in Minnesota. They were in base more than any other NFL team. If you don't know what I mean by base coverage, that's 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers if you're running a 4-3, or 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers if you're running a 3-4. Mikey was responsible for 80% of his defense, but shooting needed to be improved. I don't disagree with y'all, but that's a low bar. Like, we need to one more for our team. What about Mansell Delane? I like Mansell Delane. I think Mansell Delane is actually like a dark horse pick for Washington at 7. I said that even before these moves were made in free agency. I think we're lacking the most at the cornerback position and the wide receiver position right now. And give me 1 second, yeah. And a guy like Mansell Delane, I've mentioned how while he wouldn't be one of my favorites or the favorite as far as probability goes to be picked or at 7, I do see a scenario where that's definitely possible. Yeah, Mill, somebody broke it. My man Ant-Man broke it to me on the chat. We actually touched on it. Chris Paul's back. Good move, positive move, makes us a better football team. I'm curious to see how he fits in his wide zone scheme because even though he's an elite athlete as far as relative athletic score goes, I think Chris Paul was damn near a 10 relative athletic score when you had put him at the guard position. Brandon Coleman's relative athletic score ain't no slouch. So I think it's ultimately going to come down to who moves better laterally, who's better at marking their spot on the second level, going against that wide zone scheme. And this is why Jeremy Weave said the boy no ball. Who the fuck talking about placements at the second level? Like, what we talking about in run schemes? What we talking about? And that's why you need to smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, flood the chat section, send a super chat if you really want to support us. We got 3 super chats so far. You're going to jump the line and we're going to give you the rightful attention that you deserve. But that's why Jeremy Weaves, y'all boy, y'all special team demon, that's why he had to, even though we was going back and forth, Brett had to give it up and like, bro, you do know a little ball, bro. Like, you do. And then for the ones that be like, bro, he said, you do a little ball. Nigga, we was going back and forth. Which I expect him to glaze me? Which I expect him to be like, nah, nigga, you know more ball than me. No. He said, I knew a little more ball than he said you did. If Love is there, I get him. Love helps take a load off of Jaden. Whoa. It helps Terry from getting bracketed up top. Also, is a good check down that turns into something. Sure. I've never said that drafting Jeremiah Love was a bad move. Seemed like you shooting down my idea of drafting Jordan Tyson, though. And I don't think that's a bad move either. Who rocking 6? Who was we talking about? I know you said number 6. Who were we talking about? Was that for Ayuk? What number DYAMI wearing? If Amik Robertson wearing 2, what number DYAMI wearing? Oh, that was for Jordan Tyson. I mean, fuck with DYAMI wearing at that point. You're not concerned about. I've already touched on it. Will Diggs. I will touch on it briefly for you though, because you're my guy. Do I have some minor concerns about Jordan Tyson's injury history? Absolutely. Like, you can't ignore the fact that he's missed or he hasn't finished an entire season throughout his. I think he finished his freshman year, but the final 3 seasons he didn't finish them, right? No, the only injury that I have some cause for pause with is the hamstring injury that he's currently suffering. I don't care about. It's 3 injuries that everybody talks about with Jordan Tyson: the broken collarbone, the torn ACL, and the hamstring that he's currently going through. My biggest concern with the hamstring is that he got injured in November and he seemed to still be struggling or, hasn't fully recovered in March. So resulting in him like not participating in on-field drills at the combine, because I think he would have shined the nose. As far as the broken collarbone and the ACL injury goes, bro, it's football. It's football. Niggas break collarbones every day, B. On my Ace Boogie shit. Like, niggas break collarbones every day, B. It's football. And the ACL, yeah, when you look at it on paper, I'm not going to lie. When you look at it on paper, when you Google it, and they tell you that Jordan Tyson with that ACL injury damaged every ligament in his knee, it does look nasty, right? It does. I'll be the first to admit it. But then you got to admit that he came back from that ACL injury as the second best wide receiver in the country. Better than Carnell Tate before he got injured. He was the second best wide receiver in the country this year, and the best isn't available in the 2026 draft. Oh, we got a super. My man Will Diggs. You ain't say. There's no comment attached to the super, Will. But if you want to add a comment, if you want to reply to what I'm saying, feel free to do so. And I'll definitely get to you. Pause. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Jordan Tyson injury history. I've got Tate over Tyson. Scouting the helmet. It's because he went to Ohio State. What does Carnell Tate do better than Jordan Tyson? He might have better hands. I'll give you that. Outside of hands, which, like, when you open, you don't need the best hands. When you creating sudden separation. Let me show y'all why people are starting to talk about Jordan Tyson today. Y'all are just so, and I'm not talking, like I said, I'm not talking about y'all. I'm just talking about the Commanders fans in general. Y'all are such victims of groupthink. You see, I was talking about Jordan Tyson during the season, called him wide receiver 1 in January. But this is why people are talking about Jordan Tyson today. Where is it at? Let me find it. I'll be tweeting like shit. God damn. So my man, was it Ian Hartz? I think that's how you say his name. Ian Hartz actually released a video, a slight Jordan Tyson highlight package. God damn, bro. I be tweeting this much, bro. Y'all, somebody need to take my phone away. God damn. Here it is. Of just Jordan Tyson creating easy separation, as he said. Easy separation. Bro, this is a 6'2.5" wide receiver moving like he's 5'10". Stop telling me about the corners that he goes against. Guess what? No, most corners not covering this type of movement. What does Carnell Tate do better than Jordan Tyson? Because it ain't routing dudes up. He got better hands. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But outside of that, he not faster. He like Carnell Tate not doing that. I told somebody, show me a video of Carnell Tate routing dudes up, and they showed me a bunch of 9 routes. And then they were like, oh, but look at his release, though. Look at that. Carnell Tate doing that. Carnell Tate running the speed out like that and not getting with him at 6'10". Carnell Tate doing that. I'm sorry. Look at this. Look at this last rep. Carnell Tate doing that. Stop. How does that not look like Chad Johnson, bruh? How does that not look like CeeDee Lamb? And I replied, get Jaden Daniels his first sudden separator, the first one that he would have in his entire NFL career going into year 3, and watch him thrive. Pair Jaden Daniels up with somebody that can win instantly, and his offense is going to go to the moon. Yeah, Jeremiah Love would definitely help this offense, but a sudden separating pass catcher will help this offense even more. The gap between Ricard White, Bill, and Jeremiah Love is not bigger than the gap between Terry, wide receiver 2, and Jordan Tyson. Not in my opinion. Not in my opinion. Just got my season tickets. Welcome to the team, gang. David Shepke, 7387. Welcome to the team, gang. Look forward to seeing you boots on the ground with the boy at Northwest Stadium. We going into year 6. I remember that first season as a season ticket holder. I think that was the most exciting season just because I didn't know what I was going into. 2024 season excited. So I'm glad that you're able to do that. It's going to be an amazing experience, I'm sure. And at least your first season is under the Josh Harris regime. My first season, we were still with the pits of Dan Snyder. AP going to deliver draft night and get us our new wide receiver 1. And that's the thing. This is the thing. I think part of y'all, and I'll say it, bro, and I might be projecting, but I don't think I am. I think part of the reason some of y'all want Carnell Tate is because y'all know that he's not going to come in and be more productive than Terry McLaurin. So it keeps Terry McLaurin shooting as the wide receiver 1, and y'all don't want anybody threaten that. Because I can see a scenario where Jordan Tyson ends up being the best wide receiver on this roster in his rookie season. I can see a scenario where that plays out. Is it likely? No, I'm not saying that. But I think it's more likely than Carnell Tate coming in and surpassing Terry McLaurin on any type of depth chart. Like I said, I might be projecting, but I don't think I am. I think subconsciously that's what some of y'all are doing. Who do you think getting cut from the wide receiver room? We already got a pack. God damn, what's up with my eye? That's without possibly IU. I mean, I don't think Van Jefferson makes it through August 15th. DYAMI's on the roster fringe, especially if we get IU. I don't know. I mean, I liked what I saw from Luke McCaffrey last year, but if we bring in a Brandon Ayuk and he's close to the Brandon Ayuk that we saw in 2023, Luke is definitely going to be on the back end of that roster. So, yeah, I mean, those are the few names that instantly ring off. I personally think that a guy like Treylon Burks would beat out DYAMI Brown and Van Jefferson. He's younger than both of those guys. I think he's more talented. So, yeah, those are just my opinions. We got another super? Do we got another super? Oh, we got a member. My man Titus became a member. He joined that Bleeding BNG Mafia. I appreciate you, 202 Titus. I appreciate you, gang. Y'all go ahead and hit that membership button so you can become a member of the Bleeding BNG Mafia. Because once we start getting merch and stuff, y'all know we come with the merch. Y'all know we come with the tickets. The members of the Mafia are going to be the first on dibs to get that merch, those tickets that come out. You support me, I support you. So y'all know I try to get as much merch. I try to get as much stadium merch. We've done giveaways in the past. The members are definitely going to be first in line to get those. So go ahead and become a member like my man 202 Titus. I appreciate you, gang. Really been supporting the channel. What we talking about? I ain't gonna be on here too much longer. Y'all done had me streaming for fucking 2 hours, 3 days this week. It's Friday. I gotta act like I got a life at least, even if I don't. Man, I feel 100% that Jordan Tyson. Facts. I said it early on the stream, but I'm gonna say it now because we got about 150 more people than when I said it previously. If you try Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate out there in black, unmarked, unlabeled, no logo jerseys and a white helmet and told them to go run wide receiver drills, no talent evaluator is going to come back from that workout saying that Carnell Tate was the better wide receiver. Nobody. Stop. Now, see, I'm going to come back on here and you're going to have to owe my man's at the end of the season an apology. Who, Tate? Who, Carnell Tate? No, I'm not. Because guess what? If he's doing that for my team, I'm happy. Never said Carnell Tate was a bum. Just because I don't think he's better than Jordan Tyson don't mean I think Carnell Tate is a bum. Everything that I've said about him is facts, though. He does go against 2 and 3 cornerbacks, CB2s and CB3s. He does go against a lot of coverage that's rolled against him because it's rolled over to Jeremiah Smith. That don't make me a Carnell Tate hater. He's probably him and Mekhi Lemon fight. I don't know. Because I'm a big Chris Brazil guy. But, I mean, Lemon and Tate probably fighting, throwing hands for wide receiver too right now. Like, I don't think drafting Love is a bad move, but y'all don't think y'all at some point will have to address a receiver for. I'm saying, Carter Crankenstein. This is what I'm saying. Some of them think Terry McLaurin is untouchable, though. Like he said, let me read that last back half. Let me read the entire comment because he put it so eloquently, Carter Crankenstein. I don't think drafting Love is a bad move, but don't y'all think at some point we have to address receiver for Jaden? Because I know fans don't believe it. They do, sadly. But Terry's not untouchable like some of y'all think. Oh, my God. This nigga spitting. Carter Crankenstein, you need a podcast, Mike, my boy. And that's as simple as that. Because guess what? When Terry McLaurin leaves next year, who you trying out there as your wide receiver one? Brandon Ayuk ain't signing nothing but a 1-year deal if he signs it. So he'll be a free agent. Jalen Lane, wide receiver 1 season at that point. How well do you think we could be with running that 3-4 under front? Oh, we got some supers. I'm sorry. Let's see. Oh, we got some members. Commander's Rider just became a member. My guy. Bro, I appreciate how you really keep it real with your content. Tyson is better than receivers by leaps and bounds. The eye in the sky don't lie, bro. And I appreciate the comment. I don't even think that that's keeping it real as far as just talking about this. I do keep it real. I appreciate the comment. I just think that this is honest. I don't see how guys, if you're not scouting the helmet, if you're not scouting or if you're not buying into the Ohio State wide receiver you hype, I don't see how, like, I've heard NFL pundits, and I don't want y'all to think that I keep coming for fans. Like I'm saying, I've heard NFL pundits say, oh, man, Carnell Tate is like Mitch Tischler. Shout out to Mitch Tischler. If you listen to that nigga, bro, you would think that Carnell Tate was the second coming of Randy Moss. And I really want to go on Beltway Football, whatever the name of their new podcast is, and ask him, bro, what the fuck are you seeing, bro? What the fuck are you talking about, bro? And then the reason that I get so irritated is that gets spread to the gospel, or that gospel gets spread to the masses. And shout out to them for building the platform that they built and getting the following that they felt. But then that's when the group thing starts to happen. And then you got niggas on Twitter taking from what they heard on Beltway Football talking about how they think that Carnell Tate is the next Randy Moss. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Thinking we could trade back and still get Tyson. I mentioned that. I think that's the best scenario possible. I think that's the best outcome possible. But I've said, if Jordan Tyson's medicals come back clear, we're not going to, or clean, we're not going to be able to trade back as far back as y'all think. Because other teams in the NFL are going to have them same medicals. And I think that Jordan Tyson is wide receiver 1 on some of them boards. I think it's real talent evaluators in there that know that he the best wide receiver in his class by far. By far. I'm sorry I had to get back to the Supers, but my man West HBK, or I had to get to the Supers, getting back to US HBK. I do think we have the personnel outside of having a hellified nose tackle. Outside of that, I do think that the signings that we've made call for a 3-4 under fit. They're all scheme fits for a 3-4 under front. They're all scheme fits for a 3-4 under front. I think one of the sneaky signings that we've made is the Charles Omenihu signing because he can line up all over the front in a 3-4 under front. So yeah, I think we can actually be really well. One thing that you're gonna need from a 3-4 under front, you're gonna need some linebackers that can run. You're gonna need some linebackers that can run, especially when you're playing a lot of cover zero looks and mugged up looks. I think Leo Chenal can run. I think that Leo Chenal can actually give you some capability as a on-the-ball linebacker at the line of scrimmage, coming from the edge or rushing from the interior middle linebacker position, where he can be scheme and personnel fit in his 3-4 under front as well. Yo, what up, gang? You already know we going Tyson over overly. The way he cuts at the top of his route, elite separator. Man, talk about it. I mean, realistically, if they want Tyson on limit, I think they can. Maybe. I'm not in NFL circles, though. Maybe. If the medicals come back nasty on Tyson, yeah, I think they can probably trade back 3 or 4 spots and get 11. But if the medicals come back nasty on Tyson, I don't know if you'd be able to get him at 11. So Tyson over Love. For the Commanders, yeah, in my opinion. 1, 2, still drafted wide receiver, you think? Yes. None of these guys, Terry McLaurin included, are going to stop me from drafting Jordan Tyson, my personal opinion. You can name all the names that you want. And shout out, Kevin. Like, I'm not trying to come for you. But this is just like, this has been my argument, declarative statement that I've come up with when I've gone against people that come up with this debate. You can list all those names. All 6 of these names don't sound better than the running back room of Rachaad White and Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt. Say all that to say we need more help at the wide receiver position. And who is AB? Is that supposed to be Brandon Ayuk? While I'm in favor of signing Brandon Ayuk, ain't nothing inevitable with this nigga. So we can't shoot him in to be a wide receiver 2 by any means. Tyson, Lemon, Tate in that order. Talk about it, Jared. I get it. Same arguments I get into about the facts. I think that's the perfect comp. While I said that I want to put the generational tag on Tyson, I think you can put the generational tag on Darren Peterson, and you don't pass up on that. These niggas know his legs is cooked, and he's still in talks to be the number 1 pick with hellified options as the other number 1 picks. AJ DeBanza is fucking cold. Cam Boozer, cold. I don't know how cold he's going to be on the NFL level. I mean, NBA level, but he cold in college football. Jordan Tyson out there moving like he busts nuts every day. Like he got no legs under him. And they still talking about him as the number 1 pick. Jordan Tyson going to end up in Philly. I can see it, Will Diggs, because I can see teams being stupid, passing up on him. And you know who's not going to pass up on elite talent? Howie Roseman. That's why the Eagles are always competing year in and year out. I can see it. I know why you said Philly. I know exactly why you said Philly, bro. All right, I'm about to get through this chat before we head on out of here. So if you want to ensure that I respond to you, might as well send a super chat through. Not begging for anything. But I ain't about to be on here too much longer. Yeah, I want Tyson. So do I, gang. If they end up not drafting a wide receiver in the first round, who's your favorite 3rd round wide receiver? If Chris Bell, he shouldn't be there at 71. But if Chris Bell makes it to 71 because of his ACL injury, I would love that. I'm thinking who are third round tags. I don't think Denzel Boston makes it to 71. Who has a third round tag? I think Chris Brazil goes before 71. They talking about KC Concepcion going at the end of the first round now. So these are all receivers I like, but I don't think a lot of them had that mid-round tag. Just ciphering through it. Matter of fact, I mean, I'm going to look it up. But these are all receivers I like. But I'm just saying, like, where do they have some of these guys being projected? Prospect rankings 2026. Because if we can remember, I think it was in his first mock that he did, or his first big board that he did, Daniel Jeremiah had 10 receivers in the top 50. So if that's the case, who's going to be there at 71? That's going to be worth it. That you're not reaching for at that point. Yeah, so Chris Bell, if he's there. I think Zachariah Branch gives you a lot of what Jalen Lane brings you. Jeremy Bernard, if he's there at 71, I like that as well. Don't love Antonio Williams. Don't love Malachi Fields. Don't love Elijah Surratt at 41. I could get talked into Deion Burks. 71. But outside of that, I think all these other guys, while they might not be there when we pick again at 140, I wouldn't select them at 71. Got my season tickets again this year. Hell. Let's have a season, my boy. Let's have a season. We can trade back and get Tyson, I'm thinking. If the medicals aren't as good, if the medicals don't come back clean, sure. Are they going to comp you off for the international game? Unfortunately, I don't think that they are. Haven't heard any talks that they are. I'm on board with trading BTJ. If we really want to go for a second, I traded it down so fast. Everyone's Jefferson, man. I'm like, I ain't doing no 2027 first. The 2027 draft, one of the best drafts in the last 10 years. I think it probably is the best draft since the 2011 draft, or maybe the 2016 draft. I ain't giving up a first in 2027. But outside of that, I'll do whatever else it takes to get Brian Thomas Jr. Tate nice, though. He cool. Tate is the closest thing to a wide receiver one. He's not too risky to trade back a few slots. I think he's going to improve his elite. Talking about Tyson, people forgetting about Burks. He was insane in college. Oh, Traylon Burks? Yeah. I think he can have a career renaissance. I'm higher on Brazil over Tate. We hit one. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Who the fuck? I got an autographed Terry McLaurin jersey, bro. Why do you think I hate Terry McLaurin, bro? I just don't want him to bust my cheeks open like some of these fans do, bro. I've said it before. I'll say it again because this shit getting annoying. I hate the discourse that y'all have around Terry McLaurin, speaking as if he's some fucking first ballot Hall of Famer. I love Terry McLaurin. Best wide receiver that we've had here since Santana Moss. Does that sound like hate? Does that sound like hate? But Terry McLaurin is not untouchable. Never was untouchable. And he's not a top 5 receiver like some of y'all make him out to be. It's okay. That don't mean I hate him, bro. Stop that shit. What Mitch? I know. Tell him talk about linemen, bro. I go far and say, bro. Nah, all right, now you wild. Now you wild. I was with you, franchise and Cam. Now you wild. That shit funny though. And if you come in and cook somewhat like I did before he got his contract, Terry definitely gonna be out of here. AP not gonna pay to very facts. Like I said, you need a mic, bro. Oh my gosh. See, this is what I'm talking about, y'all. This is what I'm talking about. So y'all saw JLG993's comment about me hating Terry McLaurin. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And this is why I said I don't think that I'm projecting. because now he's throwing smut on Jordan Tyson's name, and now he's a Jahan Dotson Jr. Jahan Dotson was fucking 5'10". Jordan Tyson is 6'2". What we talking about, bro? How many reps? How much film have you watched on Jordan Tyson? Are you doing this so Jordan Tyson don't come in and be better than Terry McLaurin as a rookie? Like, what are we talking about? Why are we throwing smut on Jordan Tyson's name all of a sudden? Jahan Dotson Jr.? Like, come on. What are we doing? That comp was ass, bro. Y'all see these deals AP giving out. He not going to play with Terry. That's why Chanel is the best signing. He's exactly the facts. Yeah, bro. Like, what are we doing? Safer pick because of injury? Sure. But I'm one of the best. JT, I'm sorry if I... And it's me. It's me. It could be me. I might be the highest on Jordan Tyson outside of everybody in Jordan Tyson's family. But I think that he's that talented that, like, I'm going to bet on the talent over the injuries. But I get why you might think that he's the safest pick, man, though. Deion Burks in the third. Yeah, I just mentioned him, didn't I? Dotson Jr. is stupid. It ain't wild. Shit's stupid. This shit not wild. That shit's stupid. That's a guy that subconsciously, whether he realizes it or not, doesn't want a guy to come in and be better than Terry McLaurin. I'm telling y'all, that's what it is. I spoke about it 20 minutes ago, and then we got a prime example of it right there in the chat. All right, looks like I'm all caught up in the chat. I ain't gonna speak too much longer. We've been in here way longer than I thought. I thought I was gonna be streaming for 45 minutes. We got over 300 people in the stream. I appreciate every one of y'all spending y'all Friday night. I was hesitant on doing this because I know y'all be outside on Fridays. I know y'all like to enjoy your Friday nights with a night on the town. You pick, y'all. You enjoy it. Because apparently he's Jahan Dotson Jr. and not Jettis 2.0. I was listening. They believe the team is going to pick so. If he's there, maybe. I mean, Jeremiah Love at this point in the offseason, after the free agency moves, y'all know I'm in love with Arvell Reese. I think he's the best player in the draft. He was number one on my Commanders big board. I don't think that it's likely we're going to get him. But after the moves that we made, I think it's clear that Seven's going to be an offensive player. And Jeremiah Love, number 2 on my list as far as who I would want to draft at number 7. So I'm high on him. It's chilly out there, motherfucker. We inside tonight. That's a bet. Hey, and I appreciate y'all spending it with us over here, Bleeding Me and G. Chris Paul back. I know, Twin. I'm excited. At worst, he's going to give you depth at his best. You solidified the left guard spot so you don't have to worry about how Brandon Coleman is going to fit into that hole. The reason why I'm not showing him into the starting left guard spot is because I want to see how he fits into a wide zone scheme. But yeah, I'm excited. Let's see. Anything else before I head on out here? Before I head on out of here, y'all go ahead and smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. I'm not going to tell you flood the chat anymore because I'm about to head on out. But if you want to send a super before we head on out, you can go ahead and do that. But just recapping all the moves that the Commanders made today. I don't think that DYAMI Brown or Van Jefferson are locks to make this roster, are shoo-ins to make this roster. I'm glad that DYAMI Brown is here because he gives us something that we didn't have, though. So that if he does end up making a roster, he gives you an element that your offense direly missed last season. If he is the DYAMI Brown that was last with the Washington Commanders, and that was playoff DYAMI that had over 200 yards in that magical 2024 playoff run. I think Van Jefferson was brought here to carry Jordan Tyson's pads after practice. Don't think that he's going to make it through August. But yeah, that's just my opinions on those. I think the Commanders have signed 11 or 12 outside free agents to this point. I agree. Definitely. I think a center is definitely Chris Stapleton, our new offensive line coach, was the offensive line coach at the Senior Bowl. I think one of the reasons that we haven't signed the center yet is after Linderbaum broke the market. I think that they were comfortable with some of the options that they saw in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. Now, how much faith are you putting into a rookie center that's learning a new offense with Jay and Daniels? Yeah, can we be skeptical of that? But I like some of the center prospects in this draft. Especially, I think some of these guys fit wide zone schemes really well because that's what a lot of college football teams are running nowadays. Everybody's getting away from 90% shotgun offense. Everybody. That's why football's trending the way that it is. It ain't just the Commanders. It ain't just the NFL. It's everybody. Football moves in cycles. I just stumbled on this channel. Jalen is talking so much truth. I might have to think about the Mafia. Go ahead and tap that member button, fam. I appreciate you tapping into the channel, though. I appreciate you finding the channel. Because guess what? We ain't stopping. We got Mock Draft Monday on Monday. Our first Mock Draft Monday post the first week of free agency. So make sure you tap in to that one. If you guys aren't familiar with Mock Draft Monday, we do 2 iterations of mock drafts every week. One where we trade back, and the other one where we trade best player available. The reason we do 2 of them is because I can see the Commanders attacking the draft either way because we're lacking in both elite talent, the best player available philosophy, and we're lacking in substantial depth, even though I think we've gotten a lot of substantial depth over the course of this free agency period. Let me see. But you told me on Tyson over Love. Not even here to do that, but I'm glad that I did because I just think that we need a wide receiver more than we need a running back to carry Jordan Tyson's pads. If we draft Tyson, is that the strongest position group on the team with BA included? So who would that be? That would be Jordan Tyson, Terry McLaurin, Brandon Ayuk, Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, Traylon Burks, DYAMI Brown, Van Jefferson. I think it has a case. Are we talking about the outside zone? I mean, I'm reading the chat. Are we talking about the offensive line as an entire unit? Are we breaking them down like tackles and guards? I think the offensive line, especially with the re-signing of Chris Paul, is high on that list as well. I also think that we turned one of our weaknesses into one of our strengths with the edge position, especially if you put Charles Omenihu in that edge role as well, because I think he can line up all over the front. Adafe Owe, Kaylavon Chason, Charles Omenihu, Dorrance Armstrong, and maybe even potentially a Javonte Jean-Baptiste if he could come back healthy and 100%. That's a hell of a edge rotation as well, in my personal opinion. Tate is a good athlete, but he's not a football. If you think so, bro, you called him Jahan Dotson Jr. So after that evaluation, like, I ain't here to convince you. I'm not here to convince you. I see how wide zone in high school would be. I know it's all over. It's running rampant. Because if you are going to be under center, I much rather a wide zone scheme than a power gap scheme. So yeah. It gets your playmakers in space, especially if they got decent vision. What's up with Kinlaw? I heard somebody say Kinlaw had a solid, amazing season this year, and I had to correct him and say he had a solid first half of the season. I do think that Kinlaw is a fit for this 3-4 defense better than the defense that we ran last year. Whatever the fuck Joe Witt ran last year. I don't know what the fuck Joe Witt was doing last year. But I am excited about Javon Kinlaw's potential as a 3-4 defensive end. I don't think he's a nose. I think he's too tall. He plays too high for that. But Javon Kinlaw might be a little heavy, but Javon Kinlaw got the ideal body for a 3-4 defensive end. Length, shit. As far like I said, when I say a little heavy, it might be about 5 pounds. Like Javon Kinlaw is an ideal 3-4 defensive end if he can ever reach his potential. If he can be the Javon Kinlaw that we saw at the first half of last season, 2025. over the course of the entire year next year, I think he justified that contract that y'all was crashing out about. Yeah, go ahead and tell him come aboard, Commanders Rider. Go ahead and tell him hit that membership button. Hit that membership button. Become a part of the mafia so we can start putting out and sending out merch. Y'all know the command. They just sent me this. No, they ain't just sent me this, but they sent me this before the season. I can always get extra merch because I got 2 season tickets and my girlfriend don't use none of that shit. So I'm always giving out merch. So go ahead and hit that membership button so you can get some merch too. Send it to you, first class ground shipping. I was upset to see Jacob Martin leave. He's one of the few. Me too, but I think Jacob Martin would have his departure would have hurt us more if we hadn't already made those moves. Go ahead and get ready to watch. Facts. Oh, they about to play? Yeah, let me go ahead and head off. Let me go ahead and log off. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you, Deb Sterified. We got to watch him. Because I'm a Washington Wizards fan as well. So we might be watching Darren Peterson in Washington next year. So, yeah, it's time for me to head on out. Now you speaking my language. You know me so well, gang. You know me so well, gang. I'm going to head on out. We've recorded content every day this week. I think that's the first time that I've done 5 days of content. We might hop back on here on the weekend. But we're doing Mock Draft Monday come Monday. So make sure that y'all back on this channel on Monday. Because I got to use, let me go ahead. Where is that? I got to call on the caucus. You got to call on the caucus. You see the background. I got to call on the caucus to help me make them moves on Mock Draft Monday. Come Monday. I need somebody to come play my Lance Newmark. I need somebody to tell me I'm wilding. So, yeah, come join the chat. Come join the family. Come join the mafia with us on Mock Draft Monday. Stay tapped into the page. Videos might come out. We might do another live stream depending on the moves that we make over the course of the weekend because I'm not putting anything past Adam Peters because that nigga's a nut. That nigga's a madman. In a good way, in every sense of the word. I'll check in on y'all on the flip side. Peace.